Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, July 11th. Okay, so we're still very much in the post-lunar hangover vibes. Of course, we just had our full moon in Capricorn pop off here yesterday, late afternoon. The moon went immediately into the void, and we've been sitting in that void ever since. So coming into today, we are still very much in this void. We will be transitioning into Aquarius energy at 1:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is definitely going to help us out in a lot of different ways. Here's why. First of all, we're anchoring into a new sign that is going to alleviate some of the intensity, some of the pressure that we've been building up in for that full moon breakthrough peak energy. Also, having the moon go immediately into the void where we just had to sit with our feelings, where we really couldn't do much about it, we just had to float with it. It kind of destabilized us. It put us in a little bit of a funk. Of course, anchoring into Aquarius energy is going to bring us out of that super quick. We also have this transition from earth energy to air energy. So we're leaving the physical form, we're leaving the materialistic realm for just a sec in order to move up to the higher realms of intelligence. Aquarius energy has us emotionally detached from the situation so that we can act as the observer and kind of see where it is that, while through the Capricorn energy, we should have been illuminated to blockages and restrictions and limitations and where it is that we're just kind of struggling in life. The Aquarius energy is going to attempt to fix that, to provide us with solutions, to put us in a situation to free ourselves, liberate ourselves from some of those not so nice realizations that we just had under this full moon peak energy. So we definitely have a lot working for us here today, but I am going to give you a cautionary note that, again, we're still under the influence of the full moon. We tend to kind of get the energy kind of knocked out of us post-lunar hangover, and the Aquarius energy immediately shoves us up into the headspace where we're rapidly processing a lot of different thoughts, ideas, emotions, and perspectives. So although there's going to be this want, need, and desire to kind of fix the world today, we have to realize that this is an observation mode. This is not time for action. This is not time for force. This is not time to push. It's time to really push the boundaries of our perspective, of our thought process, of our ideas. So with all of that being said, there are 9 different aspects that are going to pop off here today. 7 of those aspects are going to involve the moon. So we come into the day, again, the moon is in the void, still in this Capricorn energy, and we are getting into the boxing ring. We're squaring off with Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries energy. So this square is highlighting where we're going through a growing pain, especially with this new version of self. Chiron, being the wounded healer in this Aries energy, is bringing forth this new version of self and illuminating the shadow parts, the wounds, the pain, the trauma that are still alive and well. Because this is a square, this tells us that, again, we are dealing with cardinal energies. Capricorn energy is a cardinal sign. Aries energy is a cardinal sign. Emotionally speaking, the moon in this Capricorn energy wants to stick to what is tried, tested, and true. Chiron, on the other hand, realizes that this new version of self has to break free from that particular mold, from that foundation and structure, and try something new in order to create a different result. So this is essentially illuminating the tug of war that we are currently going through because of what it is that we're currently growing through. The moon in this void is then going to make a very harsh interaction with Mars. Mars is the god of war. He rules over our physical energy, our drive, passion, desire, even our anger. He's in Virgo energy, so it's all about taking action to be better, to be the best version of ourselves, to fix, heal, repair some of not only the shadow aspects within ourselves, but some of the issues that aren't working so well in our physical lives, our day-to-day lives, where habits, routines, tasks, chores, roles, responsibilities are concerned, because of course, we're talking about Virgo energy, and Virgo energy is an earth sign ruled over by Mercury. So there's a lot of analyzation going on. Where can we be better? Where do we know better, but we're not doing better? What in our lives definitely has room for adjustment, for improvement? This is all of the focus right now. Now, Mars, he wants to take action and make moves. He's being aspected in not the greatest way, which means that he's not taking action. He's not making moves. He's having to, again, stand still and analyze, reassess, if you will. And so emotionally speaking, again, in the Capricorn energy, there's a heaviness, there's a weight on our shoulders, on our heart space, because again, we've been presented with, and although we haven't, had the fine-tooth comb details ironed out yet, we have been presented with information and details that illuminate for us where it is that what we're doing right now is not sustainable for the long term. What we're doing right now is because we've been doing it for a very long time, not because we're not resonating with it, not because it's helping us, not because it is encouraging us, but because we're stuck in a routine, a habit, a looping pattern, if you will, that we need to break out of. So this is going to trigger frustration, aggravation, irritability. This is going to put us in a little bit of a funk where anxiety is definitely pressurizing us to want to kind of crawl out of our own damn skin. And all of this, although it doesn't feel good, is absolutely necessary for us to realize what it is that we've outgrown, what we have to switch up, what we have to change, what we have to transform. 1:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon shifts into Aquarius energy. It's going to alleviate a lot of this pressure, a lot of the tension, a lot of the, let's call it, just overwhelming accountability and responsibility for us to realize where it is that we've created a realm and a reality that once upon a time looked good, felt good, but now is acting more like a prison. Okay, so again, when the moon is in Capricorn energy, we become aware of what isn't working, what it is that we've been building upon, what it is that we've been pursuing that just in a second's notice, it no longer feels good. It's no longer something that resonates with us. We become more aware of where we're being blocked and challenged, held back, restricted, and limited under that Capricorn influence. In order for the Aquarius energy to push us outside of our comfort zone, to think outside of the box, to look at our lives without this emotional attachment to it so that we can see where it is that we're the problem, where it is that we have an option and an opportunity to get out of our own damn way, and where it is that we have to free ourselves, liberate ourselves from some of the roles and responsibilities that at this particular point, just sucking the life force energy out of us. The moon in this Aquarius energy now is going to trine, which is a beautiful interaction, with Uranus, who rules over the Aquarius energy, who is fresh in this Gemini energy. This is the very first time that the moon in Aquarius is interacting with its ruler fresh in this new energy. So a trine is suggesting that we are dealing with like-minded elements. This is air on air action. So we're all up in the headspace. We're processing new perspectives, new ideas. We're wrecking our brain, if you will, trying to come up with solutions to some of the problems that we just identified. Now, emotionally, the moon in Aquarius, again, has us acting as the observer. Uranus bringing in clarity, bringing in insight, shaking us up so that we can see things from a different lens. The Gemini energy that Uranus is currently in is definitely doing a number on our headspace. We have to challenge old ideas, old goals, old ways of looking at life, old ways of communicating our thoughts. There is a lot of head pressure. There is a lot of energy really pushing us, forcing us to open up our mind, to see things from a different light, a different lens, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you know better, you have to do better. We then have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves. In Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac, trying to get that heart and head in alignment with a new truth, new perspective, new passions, new desires. We have Mercury making a beautiful interaction with the North Node in Pisces. Now, the North Node in Pisces is trying to get us on the right path, trying to get us in alignment with this next mission, this next goal, this next purpose that we have to pursue. Now, Mercury interacting with the North Node in this way is putting us in a situation to, yes, logically, practically be sorting through the different options and opportunities that we have to work with to move on and move forward and align ourselves with where it is that we desire to be. But based off of how it is that we feel about it, that Leo energy, the heart and soul, needs to agree with what the mind is kind of, arriving at. And when that heart and head is in alignment, we can engage the physical body Mars, in order to take action and make moves. Now, Mars, again, is in Virgo energy, so we are definitely on a pause from taking action in order to carefully, strategically come up with a well-calculated plan on how we are going to take action and make moves to make some progress in a new path, in a new direction. But right now, we are open-minded, we are open-hearted, we are willing to explore, if you will, different ways of going about getting from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. The moon in Aquarius is then going to sextile, which is a beautiful interaction, with Saturn. Saturn happens to be the traditional ruler over Aquarius energy. And Saturn, of course, is not only in Aries energy, but he's only a couple of days away from going retrograde. So a couple of things here. First of all, this is a sextile. It means that we're working with air and fire. They work very well together, which is going to create a fire, a spark, a flame, a combustion point. An aha moment, a revelation, an epiphany, if you will. Now, Saturn in this Aries energy is all about us building this new version of self and then building the realm and reality that matches this new version of self's wants, needs, and desires. Because Saturn is the traditional ruler over Aquarius energy, it differs when we're talking about Capricorn versus Aquarius, because Saturn in this Capricorn aspect wants to stick to what is tried, tested, and true. In Aquarius energy, we want to break those systems and structures down, all in the name of progress. So Saturn is coming in to help us get organized in our thoughts, in our emotions. And because this is a sextile, it's a beautiful interaction, this organization is coming from a realization, again, of excitement, of passion, of desire, of what it is that we would like to build and create, either within ourselves or in our physical realm. And this is kind of putting a different lens on the roles, the responsibilities that we just became aware of under the moon in Capricorn's energy, on whether or not they are still resonating with us, whether they are promoting us, encouraging us, supporting us, or sucking the life force energy out of us. All in all, this is the first real good down-to-earth reality check that we've had in a couple of days, and it's putting into perspective what it is that we want to build and create from here. The moon then sextiles, which again, beautiful interaction, with Neptune, who is now retrograde in this Aries energy. And so this is a beautiful thing because, first of all, we are still working with the fire and the air element. So there's going to be a revelation, an epiphany, a spark, if you will, to illuminate a different idea. Now, Neptune is retrograde, which means that we are putting our long-term goals, visions, and dreams, la la land, if you will, on pause for just a moment for us to reflect upon what we're dealing with in the present moment, in the here and now. Neptune's retrograde is forcing us to clean up the mess, tie up the loose ends of the past. And specifically because Neptune is retrograde in Aries energy, this is a review and a reassessment, if you will, of who it is that we're becoming, what it is that we're passionate about, where it is that we have a soul calling to pursue something new. And in realizing what we want to build and create for ourselves for the future, we realize what is blocking us from doing that. That is the mess that needs to be cleaned up. So emotionally speaking, this is a little bit of an oomph. This is a little bit of a download, if you will, on what we need to do, what we need to pursue, what we need to kind of, again, come back to our heart space and our head space, get real and raw and vulnerable with ourselves on what it is that, again, we need to remind ourselves of as far as creating that motivating spirit to keep us kind of, going at it to clean up this mess so that we have the space, we have this clean slate to build something new upon. And so again, this is a realization, if you will, a renewal, a restoration of the goal, the vision, the dream, only to remind us and motivate us to get our shit together, to clean up this mess, to tie up those loose ends so that we can actively start building towards the new. We then have the moon in this Aquarius energy coming up to, bumping into, teaming up with, conjuncting Pluto. So Pluto is the great transformer. He is currently retrograde in this Aquarius energy. This is helping us to take a good look at our inner programming, deep in our psyche. We have to take a good look at the fears, the doubts, the insecurities that are creeping up each and every single time we are ready to take a step forward in a new path, in a new direction that essentially paralyzes us and keeps us stuck in the same old spot. This is an analyzation, a reassessment, if you will, of the self-sabotaging programming that is alive and well within us. That Aquarius energy wants to push us into new levels of awareness, new levels of consciousness of this programming, so that when it kicks in the moments that we're feeling excited and ready to make moves and take action to pursue a new path, a different direction, that we're aware of it, we can nip it in the bud, we can flip the script, and therefore we can change it, transform it into something that empowers us. Pluto is all about power and control. And in Aquarius energy, this has everything to do with the higher realms of intelligence, with our inner dialogue, with our inner narrative, and where it is that we have the option and opportunity to flip the script on some not so nice negative programming. The sun in Cancer energy is then going to trine, which is a beautiful interaction, with the North Node in Pisces energy. This is water on water action, and it's coming at the most perfect time. Water on water action washes over us. It cleanses us. It purifies us from the emotional junk and gunk that we've been sitting in. And throughout the course of this full moon in Capricorn build up and now kind of, dissipating energies, we've been having a lot weighing on our shoulders, a lot of negative narratives, a lot of roles and responsibilities getting at us, a lot of triggers and activations coming at us. This is a beautiful energy to wash that crap away. The water energy then goes ahead, restores, refreshes, renews our emotional disposition. It reminds us of what it is that we want, need, and desire in life. And because the sun is in Cancer energy, this is about emotional safety and security. This is about understanding where new boundaries need to be built in order to protect ourselves and the work that we've been doing in order to achieve the peace, the harmony, the balance that we are currently trying to strive for, build, and cultivate within ourselves. And so because the North Node is involved, yes, we do have a little bit of a permission slip to move into La La Land, to think about the future, to think about what we're inspired to pursue, to think about what we're being called to do. But it also is giving us a realization through this refreshing insight that we are receiving with this particular interaction, what we need to double down on, what we need to stabilize before we go ahead and start switching things up, adding more stuff to our plate. And so this is a spotlight on our willingness to want to grow, want to change, want to transform, want to see some of the ideas that we're currently percolating on actually materialize in our physical realms. But in that realization, we're also being called to take a good look within ourselves. Are we feeling emotionally safe, secure, and stable enough to now switch things up, to now start adding new aspects into our lives? We then have the moon in this Aquarius energy coming in and semi-squaring the North Node. So again, a semi-square doesn't feel great. It's just highlighting some of the obstacles and challenges that we may be facing while trying to pursue this new path and direction. Emotionally speaking, in Aquarius energy, again, we're acting as the observer. And it's not that we're taking on a negative narrative. It's not that we're trying to be pessimistic or beat ourselves down after realizing what it is that we want to build and create between the sun and that North Node. As much as it is just being kind of in preparation mode, right? So the Aquarius energy does have a fixation on the future. It does have a greater, grander lens to kind of observe the path from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. And it does have the ability to identify particular obstacles and challenges that we may run into while trying to pursue this new path and direction. So this is, again, we're operating from the higher levels of our awareness, the higher levels of intellect. We have no problem identifying obstacles and challenges and issues, because that Aquarius energy is going to help us think outside of the box on how we're going to solve them. So just when we realize what is going to block us and limit us and restrict us from moving on and moving forward, equally, we have the intelligence, we have the fine tuning in our brain space to say, okay, I see where there's challenges. I see where I can get held up. I can see where I'm probably going to be banging my head against the wall. So let's be preventative and understand that there is going to be a detour that I can take at those particular junctures to overcome said obstacle. So it's not that we're kind of moving into a negative mind frame. It's that we're being overly cautious. It's that we are trying to think of all of the obstacles that we may run into, to think about them, prepare for it, so that we're not taken by surprise once we start getting this party started. And so although it does not feel so great, especially coming out of all the positive interactions later on in the day, it is a pause in order for us to remind ourselves that it doesn't matter if we are going to face obstacles and challenges and issues on this new path. We have what it takes to overcome them.